In this video, I'm going to show you how to build this two-tiered kayak rack using some really simple materials. And this was shared by Keith in our community, and this is made with a combination of a couple pieces of wood, off-the-shelf electrical conduit, and clamps that we manufacture for connecting pieces of conduit together to build all kinds of custom structures. And this is pretty simple overall. It looks kind of complex. There's a lot of connections and a lot of conduit, but it's really not too bad, and we're just going to highlight everything and break it down. And we'll just start at the bottom, where essentially Keith used a couple of 2x4s, it looks like, to essentially just create a base for attaching the verticals. And essentially those pieces of wood, there are connections to the verticals using the maker pipe flanges, as we can see there. And those are just flanges that we manufacture specifically for EMT conduit. They clamp around just like all of the maker pipe connections. You don't have to do any welding, any drilling. You just use a 5mm hex wrench. And essentially they have 4 holes in the bottom so you can secure the flange and the EMT conduit to a flat surface, as we can see here. And he's basically got all 4 of those, all 4 verticals secured to the wood in that way. And we'll just go ahead and highlight the verticals here that are extending down to those pieces of wood, just like that. And essentially you can customize the dimensions of EMT conduit really easily with a rotating handheld pipe and tube cutter. And so depending on your kayaks and the space you have, you might want to customize the dimensions, and you can do that really easily. And essentially those 4 verticals extend up, and then he's making pretty much a rectangle using the maker pipe 90-degree connector, which just connects 3 pieces of EMT conduit together. And it's what you want to use in builds that you're making a cube or a 3-dimensional square, anything like that. And that allows a piece of conduit to run continuously through the middle of the connection. And then you have these pieces of conduit that terminate inside of the connector and extend all the way across. And then in the back, you've got another piece of conduit that terminates in there, extends to the other side, and then terminates inside of that 90. And then the same thing on the back. And pretty much this is just repeated up top as well. Because the middle of the 90-degree connector allows the conduit to run continuously through it, you can customize the height of these shelves. You know, this one is a few feet off the ground, this one is a few feet above that. And like I said, it's the same exact thing up here, where it's just more of the maker pipe 90-degree connectors being used to kind of create that rectangle all the way around and just this cube structure. And then from there, it's pretty simple. We can see he's using a couple of the maker pipe T connectors, which go from one side to the other, as we can see here. Those also terminate inside of the connectors, so you don't have to do any drilling. And essentially, just secure those, and those just add some extra support to the kayaks. And then to kind of finish off this build, he's got some 45-degree connectors from maker pipe, which are just being used to reinforce the frame, which is always a great idea in projects. And essentially it's just this angled piece of conduit that is just going from between those 45-degree connectors, and he's got 4 total braces on there, which is a good idea just to kind of reinforce this whole thing. But essentially that's pretty much it to make this, and you can make this higher if you wanted to. You could add as many of those shelves as you wanted to. If you've got 3 kayaks or 4, or if you want to, kind of extend this to the side and, do 2 side by side, you could do all kinds of stuff. And it's really easy to customize structures like this. And if we look at the other photo, we can see the kayaks in place as you can see here. And it looks really awesome. It's really effective and is working out great to store kayaks. And something else I wanted to highlight is the fact that there is some pipe insulation around the EMT conduit. And this works really well to protect the kayak from the EMT, keep it from getting banged up. That's something you can add really easily and just does an awesome job. We can also see here that he's got some rubber pipe feet on the very top, and this will work well to keep, like wasps and things from building nests inside. It'll also keep rain out. So that's something, to incorporate in your builds as well. This is really cool. Here we can see the kayaks in place. It looks fantastic and is working out well. Like I said, tons of possibilities with customizing this. Hopefully this gave you some ideas and inspiration. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those down below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.